So, you learning anything over there?
Not really. I know this stuff already. What is this?
Hello, and welcome to our brand new video channel, In A Darkened Room. I'm Chris.
And I'm Darren.
We created this video channel to just have some music conversations. We're going to offer our opinion. We're going to do some top 10, top 40, whatever kind of lists. We're going to talk about different areas, different genres. We're going to just kind of cover the whole world of music, and we hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely.
I came up with this channel idea because I wanted to do some sort of YouTube channel, and I'm really, really into music, and I thought maybe I should get Darren in, because Darren and I used to do a radio show, and it was a great radio show. We had great chemistry.
Yep.
And between the two of us, our musical knowledge is vast.
Right.
We know some stuff.
Yeah.
So, I thought I would get him in here and be and just see how it went.
Yeah, and one of the things that attracted me to the idea of doing this show was when you offered me money. No, when you no, actually, just the idea that you had of it not being narrowed down to one thing. We're big fans of other YouTube music related shows.
Yes.
Sea of Tranquility with Pete Pardo. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorites that I like to watch. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah. I like the Professor of Rock as well.
Professor of Rock is really good, produced really well. And then we like reaction videos, like No Life Shack and the Lost in Vegas guy. So we're kind of going to use a lot of those types of ideas and just try to cover a little bit of everything.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Rhett and Link as well.
Yeah.
Which they're more of a, spoofy kind of, comedy channel.
Humor, yeah.
Yeah, but they're giants on the channel. So
sure.
I drew my influences and my inspiration from, all kinds of different channels.
Right. So I'm looking forward to it because we like all genres of music. I like all eras of music, and one of the things that I like the idea of is getting out of our comfort zone a little bit. We'll be talking about things and listening and reacting to things that we ordinarily wouldn't listen to on our own. So I think that that's important to grow and expand your knowledge and the things that you potentially could like, and then like you said, we know a lot about lots of different types of music, and if we can get other people to maybe check out stuff that they haven't heard before, then that makes it all worth it.
Yeah, we hope this video channel becomes like a means of discovery for you.
Right.
So we're going to cover, lots of the old stuff.
Sure.
Offer our fresh opinion on it, but we're also going to cover modern stuff as well. So
exactly.
It might help you in your musical journey. It's kind of hard to find new music these days if you're not just really deeply into the online streaming and know how to research. Radio's not, really offering much of that anymore. So we hope to be a good source for you.
Exactly right. And, our love of music goes way back. I know it does for me, and I know it does for you.
Yep.
Starting in the very early days of my life, my parents had migrated here from Florida. My mom was a country music singer. My dad was a guitar player. They met on a television show in Florida, in Tampa. And as my mom progressed as a singer, they thought, well, Nashville's where you want to be to try to be a successful country singer. So they moved here in the 60s, and I came along in the 70s. And, from an early age, I was exposed to a lot of music, mainly country, because of the influence of my folks. And I just loved it. The first artist that I gravitated towards was Glenn Campbell at a very early age. I heard Rhinestone Cowboy, that album, and it just, it really was the first thing that I remember as a little kid just loving.
Yeah.
And so as I got older, I think we grew up in a really good era for radio.
Yes.
Beyond country music that I was listening to as a young child, I listened to a lot of AM radio, pop radio. Back then it was kind of different, and Nashville in particular was a good market. One minute you'd be listening to the radio and a Santana song would come on, the next minute it'd be Rick James, the next it would be Journey.
Yeah.
So it was just a nice hodgepodge of lots of different styles. And that got embedded in me very early that music was about diversity.
Yes.
And so I was drawn to that. So that's how I wound up in Nashville to begin with. And later down the road, of course, we met in college.
Yeah.
And that's when we started radio and all that. But why don't you catch us up to speed to that point?
My dad was also a musician living in West Texas, Midland to be exact.
Yeah.
He and some of his friends, and they're in high school, decided they were all just going to pull up stakes, move to Nashville. He was very much into folk music, so that's the kind of band they were.
Yeah.
And they thought they were going to take the world by storm by moving to Nashville, as so many other people think is the case. But, of course, they didn't take the world by storm. But he did meet my mom a year later. They were married a year after that. I came along, and my dad continued to play like in cover bands, and with the party bands and all that. And so music was always in the house.
Right.
He was big into country. But because they had the party band, I was exposed to like lots of disco, lots of the rock and roll of the time. One of the 45s I remember him having that as a kid, like 5 years old, I was operating the record player already.
Yeah.
I remember Rock the Boat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hughes Corporation.
Right. I remember that one being, playing that over and over. And I remember hearing stuff on the radio too, like Bad Leroy Brown.
Yeah.
So yeah. Growing up around music, I tried to play an instrument. Dad in their rehearsal room. I tried picking up the bass. I tried playing it. My dad, of course, being the greatest bass player you've never heard of.
Right.
He tried to teach me, and I'm like, I just didn't pick it up. But as they were rehearsing, I was looking at all the buttons and knobs. I'm like, what do these things do?
You were fascinated by the technical side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so as I got older, I'm thinking, well, maybe audio engineering, something like that.
Right.
I actually ran the soundboard for my dad's band in my early teens.
Yeah.
And but I also started noticing how much fun DJs on the radio were having.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe I want to do that. That sounds like fun. They're having a blast. They're getting paid to have a blast.
Right.
So yeah, that's what my dream was to do just that. And all through high school and then into college, like almost day one of college, I think we met.
Yeah.
At the
very
radio
early
station.
On.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, rewind a little bit. A year before that, the station manager of the college where we attended,
Mr.
Howard
E.
Esprovnik, shout out. Congrats on your retirement recently, by the way.
For sure.
Yeah, great man.
Yes.
He came to my school. I was still a senior, and they were actually trying to recruit seniors to be on their air at the radio station. Like, we'll train you and everything. I'm like, yes, sign me up.
Right.
So 17 years old is when I started.
Gotcha.
And I believe that's the time that I met you, because you were a year ahead of me.
A year ahead of you.
Yeah.
That's right. And I just graduated high school, and I'd kind of gotten into playing music. The way that I started playing was my dad said, you see this guitar over here? Don't touch it. So at every moment I was touching it. So that's how I started playing.
Yeah.
And then much like you, as I started listening to radio and getting more into listening to DJs. And Nashville had some interesting DJs back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I thought it just sounded like they're having so much fun.
Yeah.
They're getting paid to play music that they love anyway.
Yeah.
What could be better than that? So I remember, like, I would put on, my little cassette recorder. I would record myself talking up songs.
Yeah.
And so I would say by the time I was a teenager, I was like, maybe I should try to pursue this. And so after I graduated high school, I joined the communications program at the local community college, and that's where we met.
That is right. Yeah. So we started doing our own separate radio shows, and eventually we thought, we would like to be on the air with somebody, because at that point I was really paying attention to morning shows and teams like, you remember Tommy and Paul on the Fox way back then? Sure. I really loved those guys. And and I'm like, I'd really love to do a show with somebody. Right. And so I don't remember whose idea it was to give it a shot, mine or yours.
Well, it was mine, and I remember it very well. I had been doing a show, solo exclusive. I'd never done a show with anybody else. And so I started thinking about, back then in the summer months, it seemed like there was always a shortage of DJs, so you could take on more than one show.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, in addition to my solo show, I'd like to do a show with somebody else. And I looked around the station, and quite frankly, a lot of the people, you could kind of tell they just were not going to make it,
Yeah.
And I saw you, and I'm like, man, this is a guy who works hard. He knows a lot about the production side, which I was very interested in. And I was not very good at that. I thought I was pretty good at coming up with bits and comedy ideas and stuff like that. But
I remember your comedy bits. They were, yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't really good at producing things and understanding how the equipment worked and all that. And I knew you were good at that. So I'm like, if nothing else, I'll learn something from this guy. The truth comes out now.
Yeah.
At best, the chemistry will work and we'll have a good show. So fortunately, all of those things happened.
We started out as just the standard, like, kind of hard rock metal show, and I wasn't. Funny enough, when we actually joined forces, I wasn't as into that stuff.
Right.
But of course, the Metallica album comes along, and I remember you playing that for me. I'm like, holy crap, this is actually good stuff. And so I got more into it, and then of course Nirvana came along just soon after. So we started to branch out into what we were doing. We did the Top 40 Hard Rock Countdown.
Yeah.
We did another show called Classic Metal, which evolved into Classic Thunder.
Classic Thunder, yeah.
Yeah, Classic Thunder, of course, included the metal along with some of the more middle-of-the-road AOR rock like Journey and bands like that. And and then eventually we started, recording ourselves, and we thought we would send in an air check tape to the local WKDF in Nashville.
Yeah.
Our big legendary rock station.
Yes, it was.
We submitted it to the program director there, and wouldn't you know it, we got a phone call.
Got a call back. Yeah.
The program director, the music director, thought that our bit on Def Leppard was hilarious.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it. So we went in, we had a conversation about, possible morning show, possible afternoon show, maybe a midnight show, and that was pretty much it. We didn't hear back from them again. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to get on myself. Maybe I can get the foot in the door, and we can both, eventually wind up where we want to be.
Right.
And I got a call back almost immediately. I wound up on WKDF overnights, midnight to 6 a.m. on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not long after that,
I got hired at WGFX, which was the classic rock station in the Nashville market for years and years. It was called The Fox. And so I got on there roughly maybe 2 months after you started.
Yeah.
It was a few weeks. And so I did that for 6 wonderful years. I really, really enjoyed it. And, as time went on, I didn't have a definitive shift like you. I was kind of the weekend fill-in guy, so they moved me all over the place. One minute I might be on at night. Every now and then I'd be on at drive time. They'd stick me wherever they needed me, literally.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of fun to just be thrown where the action was.
Yeah.
And being on the air and having friends call you and go, holy crap, man, you're on the radio. But yeah, it was an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything,
I had a blast.
Yeah.
It was my dream, and I got to do it. And now that I'm not doing it anymore, I don't regret that, because eventually, about 2.5 years in it for me, I started to see kind of the writing on the wall with the radio business and where it was going. So I got out of it and decided to move on, and Darren and I both kind of bounced around with our careers. We came together at some points, like we worked in a music store together.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
And we always stayed in touch. We were always friends through everything. We, even if we weren't working together around each other, we always made it a point to stay in touch over the phone and get together and eat or whatever.
Yeah, always sharing our love for music.
Yeah, and I was in a similar way. I kind of got tired of commercial radio. Maybe it was the station I was at. I had cool bosses and all that stuff, but I felt stifled with my creativity.
Yeah.
I couldn't really do anything. I was saying the same thing at every break. And it just got, after a while, I was like, I'm not really having fun with this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I like the fact, the exposure. I got to meet some of my heroes in life. I got to meet Cheap Trick, for instance. I could get backstage to any show. If I got pulled over by the police in Nashville, if I told them I worked on the radio, they let me go.
Wow.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I never got a ticket the whole time I was on the radio, and
license to speed.
Yeah. So because they drive around and listen to the radio all day, so
right.
they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I liked to speed back then. It came in very handy. So so after a while, we reconnected and we re-volunteered, I guess you could say, at the station, and we started doing these other shows, and then I think I had more fun in radio at that point because I felt like we knew more.
Yeah.
We had been there and kind of done that. And Mr. E was very cool. He let us do whatever we wanted to do.
Pretty much, yeah. Within bounds.
Within bounds, yeah. He had rules, but we tried to respect the best we could.
Some of those rules were in there because of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But along the way, we had some great times. We interviewed, like one day the phone rang and you answered it, and it was Fred Corey from Cinderella.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was a fan of our show, the drummer, and I got to know him personally. Made a record with him. Like I say, I was a musician too, and so it was a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun. And then we also made some music together.
I remember waking up in the middle of the night and some parody lyrics popped into my head, and I just immediately wrote them down, and then went back to sleep. So the next morning I got up, I looked at that, I wrote the rest of it, and showed it to Darren. He thought it was pretty funny.
I did.
So we decided just to do it live on the radio. Just did it straight up live under a drum beat. I sampled Hard to Handle.
Right. And
just the drum beat.
And you kind of rapped over it.
And I
laughed in the background. That was about all I attributed to.
And it went
to that.
Yeah, it went over pretty well.
Yeah.
And so Darren gets the idea, why don't we just try to record this for real?
Yeah, I thought it had a metal attitude about the song. It was about being hungover and all this stuff. And
oh, yeah. It was called My Head Hurts for You.
Yeah, so we took that concept and we ended up going into your father's studio and made a whole hell of a lot of noise one night.
Yeah, we did. I remember my stepmom looking in with this scowl on her face.
Are you guys almost done? Yeah, she did not enjoy it.
No. So we recorded that song. That song actually won us an award.
It did.
Or two.
A local award. We were covered in the newspapers and played on the Nashville tapes on WKDF.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we recorded more songs. We're going to put out an album. So we're recording like crazy, and somehow, I don't know how, it just kind of fizzled out.
Well, I think I became I thought anyway that I was a real musician, so I kind of got into other projects, and it just, for whatever reason, but it was fun, and we did win Song of the Year, a local Song of the Year in 92 for My Head Hurts for You.
Yeah. And the vocal style, I didn't think I'd be able to keep up with it, because it was just screaming.
Yeah, our mission with that project was to be as annoying, as energetic, and as loud as possible. And I think we checked all those boxes off.
Every one of them.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun, though. And we have that stuff on still recorded, so we may share some of that as we go along.
We may do an entire episode on it once you get to know us a little better.
Yeah.
We don't share that with everybody just right off the bat.
Yeah, we don't run everybody off right over from the get-go.
Right.
Yeah, and my mom, she... my mom passed away a couple of years ago. She hated our music. And she would usually go along with anything that I liked, but it got to the point where she was like, "Don't play that around me, okay?" She was really disturbed by it. So I knew we were onto something great. So fast forward, we end up on the radio. We do a few more years together. I got more into. I was in a band called Gretel in the 2000s, and I
move away to Atlanta.
You move away to Atlanta,
just to try something different. I'd grown up in Nashville, been here all of my life, and just wanted to try something different, get a different perspective, and I love that I did it. I learned a lot about myself and just experiencing a larger city in contrast to Nashville here.
And we still kept in touch the whole time. He would come in and we would watch important episodes of The Sopranos together.
Yes, we would.
Because we were addicts.
Yep.
So that's that kind of brings you up to speed to your current career, your real job in the real world.
Yep.
And it's music related. So you've been in touch with even the modern side of music.
Where I have to. It's my job. So.
Exactly. And I was in music retail up until the mid 2000s, and then I went into a totally different type of career. But I still love music. Try to keep up the best I can. But this show is probably going to help in that regard, because we're going to explore things that like I said, outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Things that I wouldn't be exposed to that you know a lot about. So I'm really looking forward to this show and this channel. We hope that you guys come along for the ride. And like I said, there's other shows out there that we admire, and we're going to try to do a little bit of a lot, and hopefully keep it entertaining, keep it fun. No politics. It's the only time you're ever going to hear that word on this channel. Right. Music brings people together. And that goes for all you guys too. You will have the ability, of course, to subscribe to our channel. And leave comments. We're gonna have some social media stuff. Everyone play nice. This is about music, and nothing else. Exactly.
Yeah. We'll also have Spotify playlists, which will kind of play as a companion along to each episode. So with YouTube and their rules with copyright and all that, we're not going to actually play music on the channel.
Right.
But you will be able to hear it through the Spotify playlist, and there'll be a link in the description with every episode where you can hear the music.
Yeah, so you can check out the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's going to be all music all the time, and music is very important in my life. It always has been, always will be. And like I say, it's something in life that brings people together. And I'm suspicious of people who don't love music, aren't you?
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah,
that and seafood. If they don't like seafood, those two things, I can't be friends with you.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, pal.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really am. It's going to be nice to reunite in this kind of format. It's going to be different, than radio, but we got some stories to tell. I'll tell you that.
We do. We're going to test our knowledge as well. We're going to have like a little random topic at the end of every episode. We'll do something a little different. Like one of the things we'll do is we'll draw a subject out of this melted record, and we'll just talk about it there at the end of the episode, just briefly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the record, shout out to Pat and Susan.
Pat and Susan, what's up?
This was the centerpieces at their wedding on all the tables at the reception.
That's very cool.
They handmade these.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And I also want to show you this right here. Used to sit on my bicycle when I was like 10 years old. It actually mounted to the bicycle. It's got the reflector on it. But this is a little AM radio.
That's so cool.
And I remember hearing, a lot of songs from this, specific memories of songs coming from this radio when I was a kid. Toto, Roxanne.
Yeah.
Rosanna.
Yeah.
I got Toto and the police mixed up. Yeah.
Same here.
So yeah, I remember hearing that. I remember the kids gathered around like this is such a good song.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Rainbow Connection by Kermit the Frog come out of this thing.
Wow.
So yeah.
That is very cool.
Still have it to this day. So
yeah, I guess while we're talking about it, I am a huge Steelers fan. So if you're in the market of Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, you are welcome. Okay, I'll be nice to you guys. You be nice to me. This is about music.
Yeah,
but I am a Steeler fan. It's something that's very interesting in my life. Always have been.
And I am a hockey fan.
And I like the
That's
Predators.
where I gravitate to, the Nashville Predators. So people in St. Louis and Chicago, I'm sorry, we can't be friends. I hate you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We can all get along.
For sure, for sure.
So yeah, who made that for you, by the way?
Actually, this was made by one of my dear friends in life named Rosetta Stone. And I know everybody's like, the language? Yeah.
No.
That was really her name. And she was an artist in the 80s. Great singer, great songwriter, and I was hired to remaster her album from 1980, and kind of as a gift for doing that, she had that made for me, which was really cool. So that was a Christmas gift a couple of years ago for me.
That's very cool, yeah.
And so that's cool. And obviously you're a Pink Floyd fan.
Yes, Pink Floyd, as you will find out as we go along. And tell us who you brought along here.
Okay, along for the ride here is one of my good friends in life, my favorite current singer. This is Tristan McIntosh. She's from Nashville. We met at a show. Really strange, and maybe we'll talk about that when we have her on the show.
Yeah.
But it was one of those like just weird chance meeting deals. But she's an absolutely fabulous singer. I've helped her book some shows locally, and we've become really good friends. And she's just a fantastic singer. I think she has all the tools, the potential to be a major star in the industry, and I'm honored to call her a friend.
Yeah.
And
she is amazing.
She really is. So you came to a show.
Yeah.
And she's just a great person. And hopefully we're going to get her on the show and we can talk a lot about her music career.
On that note, too, as our channel grows, we may have more and more people on. Maybe do like little interviews. And the possibilities are endless. You know, we may ask Dave Grohl to come on and say hello to us.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's another thing about the current modern state of the world. You know, in a lot of ways, it's a big world out there, but the world's become smaller because of the internet. You know?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, if you wanted to talk to a celebrity, you either had to stalk them, you had to write them a letter and hope that it somehow wound up in their hands, or have a chance meeting by happenstance at the grocery store or at the airport or something. Well, now because of the social media, you can send them a message in one click, and you may hear from them within 30 minutes. I mean, it's happened to me a lot.
Or you may not. Your chances are like greatly increased now.
Exactly. There is an outlet to reach people. So like I say, as the world's kind of gotten smaller, we're hoping to capitalize on some of that. So hopefully the show will grow where people will possibly want to be on the show. So
that is our hope.
Yeah, so some interviews may be thrown in eventually, but there are no rules. This is like rock and roll, man. There are no rules.
Right.
We're just going to hope to make the most of it, the best of it, and hope you guys enjoy the ride as well.
Yeah. All right. So welcome to it.
Welcome.
Like, subscribe, click that notification bell. In the next few weeks, you're going to see our official episode 1. It's going to be our favorite artists. So you'll learn a little bit about us and what we like.
Sounds wonderful.
All right. Looking forward to it, guys.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care for now.
Thank you. See you.